Alright, what's up and welcome skaters, hello and welcome back to another video. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting a series where we rank every single board shape to exist, including my own Webz Shape that we actually just had created. Now this board, there is only 4 in existence and we're actually going to be giving one away in this video. My best friend has one, I have 2, and one of you guys is going to have the 4th one, but that's going to be later on in the video, so make sure you enter that when it pops up. So how this video is going to work is we're going to switch over to the skate park in a minute, we're going to skate test the first board, jump back over and into our tier list where we're going to rank the board and then move back to the skate park and rinse and repeat till we've been through all 7 boards in part 1. With all that being said, I'm looking forward to this one, so let's fly over to the skate park and get things started. Wagwan pussies, hello and welcome back to another video. Today you join me reviewing every single skateboard shape to ever exist, including the brand new Webz skateboard shape that we've created ourselves. We've got so many to go over here, and this is just the first part in what is probably going to be a 4 or 5 part series going over every skateboard shape to ever exist and ranking them as we go in a tier list. We've got an Anderson Series 1, a Thrasher X Santa Cruz 10.3 incher. We've got the Webz board. We've got a 1970s skateboard from the vintage days. We've got a Waltz Freestyle Complete and an ultra rare Hot Wheels skateboard that only has 3 wheels, and trust me, this thing is actually sick. And we've also got this cruiser board from Supreme that I just took off and set up one of my escapism boards. Link in the description if you want to cop one, by the way. But anyway, this is what we're going to start off with, the Supreme deck. This is a cruiser shape, and I've got plenty of thoughts and opinions, so let's get straight into it. Alright, so the reason why this one isn't set up is because I've already filmed so much footage with this one that I'm just going to overlay it as I talk. But basically, there are some good things and there are some bad things about this board. First things first, interestingly enough, this is Nike grip tape. I never thought Nike did grip tape, but it's actually really sick, super gritty, incredibly grippy. So if you want to get that yourself, just expect that it's going to stick your foot to your board like nothing ever before. If you're a cruiser type guy who just likes to fly around the park, then this is probably going to be the one for you. But the cruiser shape board, believe it or not, and hear me out here, is not actually built for tricks. While this is a nice in-between world if you wanted to go from like a pull shape board to a normal board, I find that having the pointed nose and the squared off tail just give you such problems for tricks. Like this side is good for nollie, don't get me wrong, but the thing is with boards like this, of this shape, the second you do a shove it or a big spin or something like that, the board is then like this, and you're using this as the tail, which is very inconsistent for like tray flips and stuff like that. Like for example, for me, I can get a tray flip down the stair set generally pretty quickly. When I was trying to tray flip this down the stair set, because of the squared off tail, it's like a pre-installed razor tail, then it just kept going like 270 or 450 or 540. It was very inconsistent and hard to get. Obviously, user error, professionals are going to be able to do it with every board, but I'm not professional and neither are 99.9% of you, so I'm talking about the layman terms here. This board, while it is super good, I think the original price of one of these is like over £100. I did manage to find this on eBay for £42. This is going to be probably about, I'd say this is around an 8.5, maybe an 8.7. Still perfectly fine for like double flips, kick flips and stuff like that. But if you're going to go for a triple flip, it's still going to work, but if it hits you in the shin, it's going to hurt a bit more because of the extra weight on the board. This one, not too heavy to be honest, and the concave is actually pretty damn good. It's not too mellow, and for someone that really likes a steep concave, because it really does help with tricks, this is actually all right when it comes to that sort of stuff. But would I try one of these again? Probably not, to be honest. I probably wouldn't try another Supreme cruiser shape deck. I'd try a cruiser shape deck for another brand, but this one, it just really wasn't for me. I skated it for about a month, so I've definitely got my opinions. But let's switch back to the skate office and see where it lands on the tier list. All right, so here we are back at the office, and we're going to be checking out the Supreme cruiser board. Obviously, we've just skated that. I've spent about a month on this board, but considering the price and everything else, I can't really give this board. I mean, it'd be lucky to get decent. I suppose it was decent, but even so, I definitely wouldn't skate one of these again. So I'm going to have to put this one in the not for me tier. While a few of you may like it, personally, I ain't going to be riding one of those again, and especially for the price at £90, you could get such a better board. Let's fly back to the skate park and try number 2. All right, chucking that one to the side. We have got next the Anderson Series 1. Now, this is one of the best skateboards I've ever had in my entire life, but it does have some problems with it that I'm going to go over with you now. As you can see, I've got the shark wheels on it. These wings were actually pretty sick. First of all, I thought they weren't that good, but then the company said, oh, you need to try these bearings with it. And while I'm not usually one for needing a new set of bearings, they're actually quite cheap and they made them so good. I'm going to do the same style of video with wheels in the future, so if you want to see that, let me know. But anyway, on to the Anderson Series 1. I set this one up with some Star Wars element grip tape and put the little graphic in the middle. I thought this was one of my personal favorites, as it's got like the Mandalorian mask top and bottom right there.
But anyway, onto the board. So these boards are very much engineered for flip tricks, freestyle tricks, and just being an all-round sick setup. You can use this in the pool, you can use it for street, you can use it for freestyle. Obviously Anderson skates everything, so the board has to be good for him, but they made some massive improvements with Series 2 that we're going to get onto with part 2 of this series. This board has like these wings where the concave are, and they really do help you for landing tricks, because if you're going to land something on the bolts, you've got the extra space where your foot would be. Not so much on this side, but it really does help here. And you've got like this kind of squared off tail here, but they've made up for the fact that it's square by putting the concave bit there, and also this flat section here. So each different like lined section is good for a different kind of trick. It's great for figuring out where you want to put your foot for certain tricks. Like for example, if you're going to do a pop shove it, you're going to put your foot here. If you're going to do a frontside pop shove it, you're going to put your foot here. And it's easy to differentiate where the foot goes. But the main problem with these boards is the fact that as soon as you do a shove it, similar to the cruiser board, you're then using this side. And this side is very basic. It's just a normal like squared off shovel nose type situation. And it's not that good compared to the tail. The nose, while it's all right, it doesn't really give you anywhere near the benefits that this side does. And then getting into the concave on this one is sick. It's actually really, really good. Like it's really deep in the middle. So when you hit a flip trick, it definitely gives you so much like space to hit the, but the concave on these boards is actually so good that you can hit flip tricks with such ease. And if you wanted to do a tray flip or something, they work just as well for that. Like I really, really love these Anderson boards, but they made so many improvements with the Series 2 that it's impossible to give the Series 1 as much love now that I know what they've brought out in the future, which like I said, we're going to get onto in part 2 of this video. But anyway, let's get back to the office and see where the Anderson ranks amongst the rest of them.
All right, so number 2, the Anderson Series 1. Now, while I did absolutely love this board when it first came out, after seeing the Series 2, I have to be a bit harsher considering how good that one is. Now, the Anderson Series 1, don't get me wrong, is a super, super good board. It's just the fact that it's not twin nose or twin tail doesn't really sit right with me, and obviously these are my personal opinions. And also considering the price on that one, it's about £120. It might be a bit cheaper now, but that's certainly what it was when I bought it. So for all those reasons, although I would like to put it in S tier gear, I'm going to have to put it in pretty good, because I don't think it's quite the top rank, but it's definitely a bit better than decent in my opinion. I feel like that would be a bit harsh. Anyway, let's get back to the skate park, check out board number 3.
Okay, the next one before we get into the Webz board, which by the way is a beast, and then finally we'll get into the Hot Wheels board to end this part, we've got the Santa Cruz 10.3 incher. Now this is an absolute Goliath. We set this up the other day. It's got independent Tony Hawk hollow trucks, some Dragon Formula wheels, which again are going to be part of the wheel tier list we do in the future, but the board itself is the Santa Cruz x Thrasher collaboration. Now when I saw this on the website, by the way, if you want to pick this board up, you can find it on Roller Snakes, link in the description. This one was £90, and trust me, these boards are normally quite expensive. They range anywhere between like 70 and 150, but the Thrasher one I could not resist. I mean, look at the graphic on that bad boy. So nice. The only problem is I don't want to do any board sides or rock fakies. I'm gonna have to put some rails on it, which I'm gonna do in the very near future so I can keep the graphic in pristine condition. But the board itself, like I said a moment ago, is 10.3 inches of pure unadulterated wood. And while it looks super, super wide, the great thing about this one is you can fit your entire foot. Like I'm a size 9, and you can fit your entire foot on the board. It literally feels like you're skating a door, and that is just something that you don't get with other boards, obviously. Like you can still kick flip and double flip this and whatnot. It is considerably harder than what a normal board would be, obviously, because the thing is twice the width. So when you flip it, you're going to be much more likely to like clip the side as it comes round, which does happen quite a lot. You won't land primo very well because obviously the trucks and the side of the board aren't designed to sit like that, so you get a lot of wobble. So if you do land primo, it's going to shoot out from underneath you. But for cruising and doing stuff in the bowl, this thing is unmatched in my opinion. Like you can get so much speed off these Dragon Formula wheels as well. Having this set up is one of my favorite things I've ever built. I've never known Thrasher to do a deck before. They probably have, I just don't know about it. But this thing is one of my favorites I've had in a long time. But it's for a very niche market, to be honest. Like you're not going to buy this if you want to hit up street. While you could, you probably want a slightly smaller, thinner version of this that you can get from like Heroin or something if you're going to use this for street. It's quite heavy as well, even though it's considerably shorter than a normal board. Like a normal board would come up to about here. You've got a few less inches on the nose, and the same issue as with the other ones. The nose is again even worse than the situation on the other ones, where like if you do a shove it or whatever, you're going to be riding on the tiniest little pinprick of a nose here. But this board obviously isn't designed for stuff like that. You can still hit tricks and whatnot, but it's more designed for bonelesses, no complies, stuff like that. Anything that requires you to have a nice wide surface area, like a no comply 180, it's going to work for really nicely, because like I said, you've got so much space to land on, and the kickflips still aren't too difficult. you can get a nice catch on that still. Personally, I've fallen in love with this one recently, but let's jump back to the office and see where it lands on the list.
Board number 3. Now, this is one of my personal favorites I've had ever, to be honest, and that is the Thrasher X Santa Cruz board. Obviously, you heard my opinions on it just now. The actual beast of a board is quite expensive at £90, but considering the shape and the category of board that that's in, that's a pretty standard price and actually slightly on the cheaper end. Like some of these are like 150, 200, and some of them are like £60. Now, obviously I'm talking about this is what the board is good for. I can't rank this board in like a street skating section because obviously it can be used for that, but it's not built for it. But with everything considered, I'm going to put the Thrasher X Santa Cruz board in the S tier gear because I absolutely love this board, and honestly I would buy multiple others of these. And when I showed my friends this board and they had to go at the skate park, they were all looking online to see how they could get a similar board because honestly it's one of the best and fan favorites I've had in a while. Let's get back to the park, check out board number 4.
All right, now moving on to what is now the future of skateboarding. Jokes, this isn't that good. It is a nice unique little piece that we've made here at Webz Skateboards Industries. So this setup is perfectly customized to fit the branding and also match the board. So we've gone for the Natus wheels. These are 60mm. I will admit that I went for these thinking they were a bit smaller, but hey ho, they still work just as well. The trucks, I tried to find something with a web print on them, and guess what? We managed to do it. These are Ace trucks. They're hollow as well, so they're going to work super nice for skating this board around. And funny enough, if you've made it this far in the video, we're actually going to be giving away one of these towards the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. There's only 4 in existence. My best friend has one, I have 2, and one of you lucky viewers will have one, but we'll talk about that in a few more minutes. So the board itself, now this one's originally made just as like a little promo piece for like just to make a video with and have fun with, but it actually turned out to be quite good at skating. This thing has got the Webz Shape all the way down. I had one of my Instagram viewers make the design, and honestly it actually works surprisingly well. Like all the way around the tail, we've got like little bumps as well, and the tail and nose are obviously symmetrical and they're massive, so you've got so much space here for your feet, but in the middle the board's actually quite thin and it's still super light, even though it looks and feels considerably thicker on the sides. The grip job on this one, obviously we had to go for the web print grip. Would have been a bit of a miss trick if we didn't. Holly behind the camera, my partner in crime, is the one responsible for such a nice grip job. I could never do something like this on my own. My arts and craft skills are minimal, while Holly's exceed me astronomically. We've managed to copy the pattern on the bottom. If you've seen the grip tape video, let me know. If not, I'll put a bit of it on screen now. But yeah, that is what we copied on from the bottom to the top, and now it looks sick. The tricks on this one actually work really well, like I just said, and the wheels make it so fun to cruise with. This is like a new style of cruiser board. While you're not really going to be hitting tricks downstairs with this, I still feel like it's super fun to skate, and one of you lucky fuckers is going to have one of these in your house. Bear in mind, it's just the board, not the whole setup. And these wheels are actually surprisingly sick as well. Like this board, I'm so happy with this. You can hit a nice kickflip on it, no problem. And she's nice and sturdy too. Let's see how it lands on the list.
All right, so board number 4, the Webz Shape board. Now you guys, I want you to tell me your opinions of this one. And as I said, we're going to be giving away one of them. So to tell you exactly how to do that, all you've got to do is comment your favorite board from this list. Tell us why. Subscribe to the channel with notifications on and like the video, and that's it. You're entered. I'll pick one lucky winner 1 week from now in next weekend's video. That'll either be on Saturday or Sunday. But anyway, with all that being said, now that you know how to enter, go do that. And do me a favor and make sure you watch the video all the way to the end because it really does help us in the algorithm. But now we've got to rank this beast. It would be a bit biased. I'm not going to put it in S tier gear because obviously it wasn't created to be skated full time. It's not quite Anderson level pretty good. In fact, you know what? I'm putting it in the pretty good tier, but slightly above the Anderson. The Anderson is at the top of the pretty good tier right now, and my one is just below it. Because while it's not quite on that level, it's better than decent. Don't get me wrong. It's a super nice board. But anyway, let's get to skateboard number 5. Let's get back to the park.
Next up, we have a 1970s vintage bit of kit. Now, I managed to find this on eBay about 2 years ago. Funny enough, this is the first and only skateboard that I've ever landed a quadruple kickflip on, which is quite funny considering how shitty it is. The size of this board is obviously minuscule, and it's got like sticker grip tape on it, like the tiniest bit of grip here and like nothing on the nose side. The board has seen better days. I managed to bust up the trucks by doing so many like flip tricks and stuff on it, which bear in mind, this actually does flip tricks surprisingly well. There's something about these really small super light boards that just work really nicely for flip tricks. And you can even ollie it too. Imagine that. These obviously aren't even built for tricks at all, but they still work fairly decent, to be honest. These are mainly built for like cruising around in streets and stuff. Like this is before skateboarding really had freestyle tricks and stuff like that. The truck is obviously a bit busted right now. This is when skateboarding was just cruising around, having fun and using ramps back when it was called street surfing. A little bit of history for you guys there. These ones don't really hold up. It's cool to have one just to piss around, do some tricks on, because like, look at the wheels. They're so crispy, so crusty. That ain't going to take you anywhere fast. And look at the trucks. They're of a new design, well, I should say an old design, that you haven't seen in many, many moons. Like, look at the state of them. They're like these really thin pieces of metal. This is some vintage bit of kit right here. But the boards are still like different plies of wood. I don't know how many plies there are. I think there's like 10 or 11 plies on this board, so it's a thick boy. And while it's good to have for a little bit of fun, you're not really going to want to waste your money on buying these unless you have a YouTube channel when you can talk about them for fun. But these are more recreated in the penny style of skateboard today. While it's all right to chill with, you ain't going to be taking this down the skate park for a proper session. Overall, I've not got high hopes for this one, but let's see where it lands on the list.
Right, so number 5, we've got the old school 70s board. Now this one's 50 years old, remember that. I think all things considered, this one is pretty good, definitely for its age range, but in today's rankings, I can't really rank it in the same level as like an Anderson board or even the Webz board. Today, you wouldn't really want anything like this, and with the state of the trucks and how horrible they get, while you can do a few stationary flip tricks, you can't really ride it. So in consideration of everything right now, and if you were to buy this board today in 2024, I'm going to have to put this board in the wank tier, because while it is a nice bit of history, it ain't going to be something you ride, and we can't rate it just on how good it looks on the wall, and it doesn't even look that good on the wall. So with all that being said, that one hits the bottom tier. Let's check out board number 6.
All right, we've got 2 skateboards left, coming up to my personal favorite, the Hot Wheels one, but first, we're going to go over the freestyle board. So this one was sent to me by Waltz. Like, I did like a little freestyle trick list video on my Instagram, and they were like, dude, we need to get you a proper freestyle board. Now, freestyle boards were very hard to come by in the UK at the time. I think there's a brand or two out there now. At least I couldn't find anyone. But either way, this board is 100% Waltz setup. It has these really, really nice small trucks that are perfect for this board shape. And the wheels, if you take a look at the wheels right here, normally a wheel is like this shape on both sides, but because this is used to sitting in Primo, it has flat wheels on the side, so that when you are in Primo, you get no wobble whatsoever. It's also supposed to have a skid plate, which is what this is, on both sides, so that you can slide it around the floor, because in freestyle, you usually do a lot of stuff where your tail and nose scrape the ground, and to stop the board from wearing down super quickly, they put these on there. But what I've noticed from using it, and I've barely used it by the way, these things come and fall off pretty damn quickly. Like, you see that? Rattling right there. This one is very imminent to falling off. That's because I do loads of flip tricks and stuff on it that you're not really supposed to do. Like, I did a triple kickflip on this one the other day, and I was just messing around doing a bunch of other stuff, and the trucks come ultra tight, so I had to loosen them up to make it cruisable around the skate park, which is not what it's built for, but I like to use these things in the way that suits me, as opposed to how they're actually built by the factories, you know what I mean? And another reason why it's so small, because as you can see, the board itself, like if I compare it to a normal size board, let's take the Supreme Cruiser for example, the board itself is considerably smaller, and that's because when you do freestyle, you want it to be lightweight, easy to flip around for like truck stand flips and stuff like that. I'm no professional when it comes to freestyle, can do a few tricks, but some of the stuff that these kids do these days, absolute madness. So that's why these boards are so small and so mobile, and they're also good for like old school flips and stuff, although there's no concave on them whatsoever really. So it is quite difficult to do stuff, but when you do stuff like that where you flip the board underneath, it's actually pretty good for that when it's flat. So it certainly has its use cases, but again, if you're not really into freestyle skateboarding predominantly, maybe this one isn't for you, but I'm going to rate it based on what it's good for. Let's see where it lands on the tier list.
All right, so board number 6, the freestyle board. Now this one is actually pretty damn sick. I do really like the freestyle board for what it is and what it's made for. It does really work super well. Obviously, you're not going to go skating street on it or anything, but I think that this one is a really good bit of kit. If you want to try some freestyle tricks, get used to some primos and whatnot, you can't really do much else with this board apart from a bit of freestyle and a bit of flatland. I wouldn't really go skating bowl on this. I wouldn't want to try skating a stair set on this. So with all that being said, I'm going to put this one in the decent tier. While it has got its use cases, and for the people that want to buy it, I would say it is really good. So actually, I'm probably going to put this one in the pretty good tier, as it ranks up nicely with those boards. For what it's good for and what it's built for, it works super well. So right, we've got one board left, and this is one of my personal favorites. Let's jump back to board number 7 at the skate park.
Okay, so the final board of this list, I found this one on eBay for £100 as an ultra collectible skateboard. So they told me. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I wanted it for a video, so I got it. This thing is obviously a Hot Wheels skateboard. You've probably never seen one before. I certainly haven't. It's half ripstick, half cruiser. It has big wheels on the back, like some thick, chunky cheese wedge type wheels. Some rusty ass old trucks. You can tell this one has probably seen some better days, probably been sat out in the rain a little bit. The bearings leave a lot to be desired, I can't lie. And the front wheel is more like a scooter wheel. And as you can see, it's got like the scooter forks on there as well. This thing spins around nicely, so it's got very, very limited movement in fakie. If you're gonna jump onto it, you kind of have to do it like this. And then you can wobble your way around. It's pretty sketchy going down ramps though, because like I said, you cannot ride fakie on this whatsoever. If you try and ride fakie, the front wheel kind of buckles and then you just die. And I learned that the hard way. I dropped in on the bowl, did a rock fakie, and then as I came down, the board just goes whoosh, like turns 90 degrees and you eat plop. It's horrible. But otherwise, just for fun and cruising around on, these are actually pretty fun. Like if you wanted to get used to ripsticks, this is a great in-betweener, but I think the ripstick is going to cost you so much less money. This was £100, like I said. This is just another one of the collectibles that I wasn't expecting to be really fun, but it actually is. As you can see, that it has a bit of a mind of its own. If you try and pull it backwards, it just turns, starts going the other way. It really doesn't want to do what you want it to do, but it is possible to get a kickflip on this one. Believe it or not, I've actually seen one of my friends do a nollie flip on this, and that's popping off the one wheel, which is a big thing. But I'll settle for just a nollie today. A lot of impact, you got to always stand on that wheel. But yeah, this one is a fun bit of kit. Probably not for your everyday skater. But let's see where it lands on the list. Back to me at the office.
All right, so the final board, the Hot Wheels board. Now, obviously, you're not going to be riding this one for anything other than just a little bit of fun and messing around. The skateboard is decent. The free wheels makes it really difficult to take to the park because you can't ride fakie down ramps. Otherwise, it will just throw you off like anything. Personally, and for the price as well, I can't put this in anything else but the not for me tier. And I'm actually going to put the Supreme one up into the decent tier because while it isn't for me, technically, I do feel it was skatable and actually pretty good in its own right. I just wouldn't personally choose it again, but the Hot Wheels board is definitely going to rank up there. While it's a bit of fun, definitely going to sit in the not for me tier. Anyway, that's it for this video. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. Let me know what boards you want to see in the next part of this list, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.